We also have more stories here on the news at 10, but from our Abuja studios with Linda Kigbe.
Hello, Sulaiman, and welcome to Abuja. The Kano state government in northwest Nigeria is exploring new strategies in tackling the menace of cattle rustling. The state governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, has formed an amnesty committee for cattle rustlers who wish to lay down their arms and give up criminal activities. He said this while receiving cattle and other domestic animals recovered by the police in Kano State.
71 suspected cattle rustlers arrested, and their bounty, consisting of a large number of livestock and hard drugs, valued at over 61 million naira, have been recovered. 21 weapons were also recovered in a recent operation by state police.
We recovered a total number of 534 cows. We've also recovered 11 camels, strongly believed to have been rustled from Niger Republic.
The chairman of the Cattle Rustling Committee reveals that evidence from other recoveries shows these livestock thieves have indeed gone beyond the borders.
Of the total number, Your Excellency, so returned 482 cattle, 228 sheep, 5 goats, and 3 donkeys belong to owners from Katsina, Jigawa, Bauchi, Kaduna, Zamfara.
The governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, is intensifying efforts to reduce the notorious trade with an offer of amnesty.
Those cattle rustlers who decide to be born again, who would like to surrender, bring back their arms, and then make a conviction that they will never go back to the ugly trade, then there's an amnesty for them. We shall look into their problems and see how we can bring them back into the society.
He goes on to explain that 3 local government areas which were worst hit by the rustlers have since gained a measure of relief.
We have planned a last push in the forest, for which there will be a combined operation of the military, the police, and even the vigilante group.
So far, of almost 3,000 livestock handed over to the state government by the police, more than 2,000 were returned to the rightful owners. The rest of the livestock are still being verified to determine the owners.
Mixed reactions have begun to trail the announcement by the federal government of a new pump price of petrol. The prevailing price of 87 naira for a litre of petrol has been reviewed downward to 86 naira 50 kobo effective January 2016. Our energy correspondent Olu Phillips tells us more.
In a few days from now, this unit price for a litre of petrol will give way for a reviewed template of 86 naira 50 kobo as announced by the federal government. According to the agency in charge, the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPRA, the major components of the pricing template affected by the review are traders' margin, lightering expenses, Nigerian Ports Authority, jetty, throughput and storage charges, as well as bridging funds. Others are retailers, transporters, and dealers' margin. Already, this has triggered reactions.
It's not okay like that.
It's not proper.
It's not proper.
Maybe something like maybe 79, the former 79.
Okay.
It will look a bit. The other things will come down gradually like that.
They should just come out, pop and play, and tell us we are removing subsidy. Not to tell us that you are reducing this, you are reducing that. No, remove the subsidy now. When there is this thing, then you can come and with an intervention.
This is a directive from the PPRA to concerned downstream players. But some of them who spoke to Channels TV off camera say the review is still being studied. But quickly, we can tell you that the worry is about the timing how effectively this can be implemented across the country, especially in states where petrol is never sold at a regulated price of 87 naira. Also, how much of this review involved stakeholders will provide talking points in the days ahead.
We need to stay positive. We need to trust them and see the game plan that and stay positive that things will be better.
Deal or no deal as far as petrol price is concerned. 87 naira, review downward to 86.50, effective 1st of January. Well, deal for some people, fair deal. For others, completely no deal. But what government is trying to say or do is that efficiency can actually help in price regulation, not necessarily price modulation. But for others, especially the experts, what they say is completely deregulate the system and allow market forces to determine pump price. Like that, we have a better deal. From Lagos, Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
And that's all from the nation's capital. Back to you, Sulaiman.
Thanks, Linda. The federal government insists that the search for the over 200 schoolgirls abducted by the Boko Haram terrorists is top priority for it. Today, the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, affirmed this in Lagos at the press conference. The minister says the fight against the insurgents is not only decimating the sect, but the fight will only be over when the girls are found.
The federal government will never treat the issue of the Chibok girls, lightly. And I want to say that we continue to search for these girls. And even now, part of the reasons why we cannot take some extreme measures along the Sambisa forest is because we still believe that it's likely they are being held there. Now, even when this war is over technically, the search for the Chibokers will not end. Among the areas where Boko Haram has been kicked out is Bama, which was the self-declared headquarters of their caliphate. From there, they collected taxes, dispensed jungle justice, disposed and installed emirs, and hoisted their own flag. Today, the town is firmly in the hands of our troops. How then can anyone say Boko Haram has not been defeated?
Nigeria's Minister for Information speaking on the war against the insurgents in the northeast. Now, former Niger Delta militants have dismissed reports that they are regrouping to challenge the Buhari administration. Mr. Michael Bubo, who is the chairman of the Egbema Gbaramachi Youth Forum, debunked insinuations that the Buhari administration's anti-corruption war is targeted at the Ijaw nation. He also pleaded with the federal government to extend the amnesty program to prevent the rebirth of militancy in the region.
My advice to all the youth in Niger Delta is for them, for all hands to be on deck, give maximum cooperation and effort to the present governments. Also give the Buhari administration a chance and not to approach these governments with violence. The time of gun battle have come and gone. It is the time that we all will live as one Nigeria to provide a peaceful environment for investors, to attract development in our communities.
Still in the spirit of the season, the people of Cross River State appear to have taken their celebrations to a new level with what is tagged the Green Carnival. It is an initiative of the State Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, aimed at encouraging the planting of trees to add extra beauty to the state, as well as trap toxic gases. Our community report tonight looks at this novel way through which the people are keen into the climate change campaign.
green message is what the colorful and fun-loving city of Calabar, the Cross River State capital in the South region of Nigeria, is passing to its citizens and tourists from all over the world at its 2015 carnival. The procession, led by the governor of Cross River, hit the streets in green, brandishing leaves and placards to pass their message. And of course, with every carnival, there's colorful costumes and a lot of dancing. The idea is to encourage the planting of trees, to add extra beauty to the state, as well as trap toxic gases. Stressing on the need to be environmentally conscious, the governor promised that his administration will give full support to every young Cross Riverian venturing into tree planting with a piece of land and capital.
You all must turn to climate businessmen. I must encourage you to open opportunities. So we are going to create green millionaires. Young men like you and I will come together and become rich men by planting trees and managing trees.
The tree planting exercise follows. The Minister for Transport calls on Nigerians and indeed the world to take seriously the tree planting venture, which is designed to save Mother Earth.
What's critical is that the world is going green. Everybody's frightened about the climate change, and there is no particular part of the world that is that can escape it. So what he's doing is to say to Nigerians, and all of us, we are Nigerian, that action must start now to go back to nature. Now, having done this, the next thing I would suggest that government would do is to ensure that Nigerians will migrate from wood to gas to serve as domestic gas for cooking.
Some participants at the festival speak on the enormous benefits to mankind.
Cross River State plays a major role in restoration of the climate of the globe because we have 50% of the last remaining tropical rainforest in Nigeria. It's domiciled in Cross River State alone. And so we are in the best position to deal with issues of climate change.
I am honored to be part of this history making. I have prayed for the tree. If I leave now to Enugu State, my state, I leave the life of this tree to discipline and well-being of Cross Riverians.
What in this life is full of care? The planet and everything it holds there. Hopefully, this event will be taken as seriously as the mission.
Now you're talking. Nothing like a clean environment, isn't it? Time for us to go into the business studios where Anne is standing by to tell us what the business has been like.
You first. First Bank.
Hello, welcome to the world of business. President Muhammadu Buhari has said that there may be a need to engage National Assembly in a dialogue on the budget of about 50 billion naira for vehicle purchase. At his first media chat this evening, he said the need to be prudent with public funds will be the basis of the dialogue.
Treasury single accounts. Now we know what is going what. The second one, when you mention vehicles, I have seen it in billions. All I know, the first thing I turned down is a 400 million bill for cars for the presidency. I turned it down. I said the vehicles I've been using are good enough for the next 10 years. Therefore, none for the presidency. But I understand there is a full protocol where when you have a meeting of heads of state and governments, you have to buy a vehicle. That I didn't go into detail. I answered it's going to cost some several million. As for the National Assembly, we are having problem with them in TSA. I said everybody has to subject himself to TSA as long as federal money is involved. But I understand the vehicles about 50 billion naira for vehicles. I think I will have to have a close door meeting with them. I hope they haven't brought them yet. But after that, then again they collect money for vehicle allowances. I think that's a legitimate question.
Nigeria's ex-noil reserves now stands at $29.30 billion as of December the 23rd, 2015. While data from the Central Bank of Nigeria's website shows that the reserves declined by 2.41% from $29.34 billion on the 22nd of this month. The external reserves have now depreciated by over 15% from $34.49 billion at the beginning of the year. This represents a $5.15 billion decline so far this year. Now, this drop in the forex reserves value has been attributed to the significant reduction in forex inflow into the country owing to the fall in crude oil prices. The Nigerian equities market witnessed a very huge recovery today as key indicators ended the all-share index at 27,777.83. Balaji Akinwale tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The bulls staged a recovery at the Nigerian equities market as key indicators took a huge leap forward with a 3.79% increase. The all-share index ended midweek session at 27,777.83 with a higher market capitalization of 9.55 trillion naira. Nestle led Wednesday's price gainers with 4.30%. Dangote Cement appreciated by 8.59%, while Nigerian Brewers rose by 7.83%. With a 4.92% drop, Transcorp Hotel was the day's top price loser. ETI and NACO also declined by 1.23% and 4.99% respectively. African Insurance, FBN Holdings and Sterling Bank were the major contributors to market volume. When the closing gong sounded, investors had exchanged 1.41 million shares valued at 1.94 billion naira in 2,559 deals. And that's a wrap on the Stock Market Report. I am Bolaji Akinwale.
Well, thanks a lot, Bolaji. Now, the oil price is a very major concern for oil exporting countries like Nigeria. Oil has lost more than a third of its value this year. DWTV Channel's TV correspondent at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, Conrad Boson, reports that the short-term and the long outlook for the oil market remains very gloomy.
Iran will return to the oil market after sanctions are lifted against the country, and Saudi Arabia already made it pretty clear that it will do everything to defend its market share, which means that the Saudis will be ready to even contribute to the oversupply on the oil market, and that's likely to keep the price very, very low. In the long term, of course, this outlook is very speculative and also a bit philosophical, but I think things also speak rather against oil. Of course, more and more people worldwide will want to drive cars, but will oil and petrol really be the #1 fuel for these cars? That at least has to be questioned. And of course, in many places of the world, more manufacturing facilities will be constructed, but will energy they use really come from oil and from other fossil sources like carbon? The summit in Paris, the environmental summit in Paris recently showed that probably the future is not one of fossil fuels.
It was mixed sentiments in markets across the globe today. Let's see some of those trading figures. And it's a wrap on business news for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I am Anne Mwawadu. The rest of the news at 10 continues with Sulaiman.
You first. First Bank.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Asian football chief advocates splitting FIFA into two separate entities as part of radical reforms. That's in sports news. Stay with us.